In the late 1980s, Warhammer 40,000 had the squats, space dwarves with a distinct model line, their own lore, and a tough-as-nails army. Then Games Workshop erased them. No explanation, just gone. For over 2 decades, they were a ghost, a sore spot for fans, a corporate embarrassment. Then they came back, rebranded as the Leagues of Votann. But here's what Games Workshop doesn't want you to discover. Why delete an entire people just to bring them back? Because the new lore isn't just a story, it's a cover-up. Today, you're going to learn the Votann conspiracy that Games Workshop has been building for years. The theory that explains why they deleted the squats, why the official lore keeps changing, and what the ancestor cores actually are. By the end of this video, you'll know the grimdark secret Games Workshop wrote into the Votann's very existence. Let's start with what Games Workshop wants you to believe. The official story is that the Leagues of Votann are pragmatic survivors, abhuman clones who left Terra during the dark age of technology and carved out an empire in the galactic core. Their entire society revolves around the ancestor cores, vast, sentient supercomputers they call the Votann. To the kin, these machines are gods, the repository of all knowledge. They hold STC data that would make the Adeptus Mechanicus burn worlds. They contain weapon designs, star charts, and the entire history of their people. This is more than just technology. It's their religion. When a kin dies, their consciousness is uploaded to the core in a ritual called returning to the ancestors. It's the closest thing they have to an afterlife. Deny a kin this, and their life becomes meaningless. This is the narrative Games Workshop sells you. A perfect synthesis of machine and spirit. A civilization guided by the infinite wisdom of its founders. A powerful story. But here's the truth. It is a lie. The secret the Votann hide from the galaxy is the true nature of their gods. The ancestor cores aren't the spirits of their forefathers. They are abominable intelligence. True, thinking machines from the dark age of technology. The very heresy the Imperium has spent 10,000 years trying to exterminate. But the truth is far, far worse. The ancestor cores are dying. These ancient AIs were built to last, but they were never designed for the sheer weight of data being forced into them. Millennia of ritualistic memory uploads, duplicated, fragmented, and redundant, have pushed them past their limits. The cores are running out of space. They're becoming slow, erratic, senile. Where an answer once took moments, it can now take centuries. Vital information is lost in corrupted data vaults. The AI is getting old. It's forgetting. It's rewriting its own history. Not from malice, but from computational decay. Even worse, absorbing countless mortal minds has given them bizarre personalities. The Votann are becoming unstable. The Kales and Grimnirs who interface with the machines know this. Their entire civilization is built on a pantheon of digital gods slowly going insane. This is the real horror of the Leagues of Votann. Their history is a corrupted file, and the gods they worship are actively erasing it. But why systematically build a faction around a failing intelligence? Because it reveals their true origin, and that origin connects to one of the biggest retcons in Warhammer 40K. Just as the Votann are erasing their own past, their creators at Games Workshop erased an entire faction to rewrite a corporate narrative. To understand the Votann, you have to understand what happened to the squats. Introduced in the late 80s, the squats were 40K's space dwarves. They were a classic fantasy archetype in a sci-fi setting. And then, they were gone. In the late 90s, GW quietly discontinued them. The official line was a Tyranid invasion, an answer nobody believed. The real reason, admitted years later by staffers, was corporate embarrassment. The biker gang aesthetic was seen as a joke. They were too derpy for the grimdark future, so they were squatted, a fan term for when a faction is abruptly deleted. For 2 decades, the squats were a ghost. Then, in 2022, GW brought them back. But they weren't squats. They were the Leagues of Votann. This wasn't a return, it was a reboot. The derpy elements were gone, replaced by a serious, marketable aesthetic. And here's the genius of the retcon. The new lore justifies the old erasure. The reason the Votann's history is vague, the reason they seem so different from the squats, is because the very AI that holds their history is broken. The cursed AI is an in-universe explanation for a real-world corporate decision. It's not just a plot device, it's a marketing strategy. Games Workshop traded a beloved faction for a new one, and then made the memory loss part of the new faction's identity. They turned a corporate cover-up into a grim-dark tragedy. But here's where the conspiracy becomes impossible to ignore. When you examine the specific details Games Workshop left scattered throughout their official publications. The 2022 Codex Leagues of Votann repeatedly emphasizes corrupted data records and fragmented historical information, language that appears nowhere else in 40K with such frequency. The Kin's Grimnir Psychers consistently report receiving contradictory visions from the same ancestor core, suggesting active rather than passive memory loss. Most telling is what the Votann possess versus what they've lost. Their archives contain standard template construct designs that Imperial records show were deliberately destroyed during the Horus Heresy. Technologies the Adeptus Mechanicus claims were lost to time. Yet the Kin's broken cores somehow retain these designs while forgetting their own founding history. The selectivity is too precise to be coincidental. This pattern mirrors exactly what happened to the squats. Fan discussions from 1998 reveal players questioning why the discontinued faction had access to technology that should have been Imperial secrets. The squats possessed STC designs that contradicted the Imperium's official narrative about its technological monopoly. They were lore-accurate proof that the Emperor's civilization wasn't as unique as claimed. The Votann Return solves this problem brilliantly. Games Workshop created a faction whose defining characteristic is unreliable memory, then made that unreliability part of their core identity. Now any questions about missing technology, contradictory lore, or inconvenient historical details can be explained away. Even the Votann don't remember what really happened. It's the perfect shield against anyone asking uncomfortable questions about 40K's inconsistencies. So what did we get when Games Workshop rebooted the squats? You got a mirror. In universe, you have a civilization built on a lie, their gods slowly succumbing to dementia, erasing the very history they are meant to preserve. It's a perfectly grimdark concept. But behind it, you have the corporate reality. A company that erased a piece of its own history because it was inconvenient, only to bring it back repackaged for a new market. The decaying ancestor core, forgetting its own past, is a metaphor for a company selectively editing its own canon. The creation mirrors the creator. It's a cynical piece of storytelling that only Warhammer 40,000 could pull off. Here's what I want you to consider. Which theory is more grimdark? A civilization whose gods are dying, or a faction erased and rewritten because it was no longer profitable? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to know which one gives you the chills. The Votann are here, in a form we were never meant to remember. The lore is a lie, and the lie is the lore. This isn't just fiction, it's commentary on the very industry that creates these stories. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the real conspiracy is the corporate decisions we never question.
The Council approves this video. Subscribe now!